The WNBA is going through a major change, with rookie star Caitlin Clark at the center of it all. Her influence on viewership, popularity, and attendance is clear. We're seeing something new and exciting in women's basketball, and if you're not paying attention, you're missing out.
It could not be in a more exciting place than it is right now.
Certainly, the attention on women's basketball right now is at an all-time high, and this league has been poised and ready for at least the last 2 decades for this moment. We have the star power, we have the elite play on the floor, but it's been a bit of a hidden gem. Well, it's not going to be hidden much longer, and a lot of that is because of this draft class. And
Clark's influence was truly revolutionary. After 2 decades of waiting, the league finally had the star power to match its top-level play. But Clark didn't just elevate herself, she lifted the entire league to new heights. The attention on women's basketball reached an all-time high, and Clark led the way. Let's look at the numbers. Clark's final college game drew a staggering 2.54 million viewers. The next highest game, a mere 929,000 viewers. Yet, even this lower number surpasses last year's WNBA Finals viewership. The league is growing with or without Clark, but her presence boosted this growth.
I mean, I can't play like you do.
Yeah, we know. And obviously, I can't tell jokes like you do.
That said, I don't think it's necessary to keep talking about the ratings with and without Clark.
You said there's been a robust conversation around the Final Four. I don't know what's bigger than robust, but it got even bigger this season. It's robustier this year. And how do we play? How do we build off of last year? More talent, more eyes on the game, more bodies here at the draft to cheer and celebrate this draft class.
But this quick rise hasn't been without issues. The league's top stars are struggling with the sudden change in focus. For example, A'ja Wilson, the current MVP, is now facing new challenges as she competes for attention in a league she used to lead.
I don't understand this. Many of these people, like A'ja, are so used to being able to dispense and force white guilt upon others that when people don't comply, then it becomes something they can't.
Wilson's recent comments have sparked a lot of debate. She said her life is 10 times harder to get the same recognition as her peers. But is this fair? Wilson, a 3-time MVP with multiple championships and a statue at her old school, seems to have gotten plenty of recognition already.
Us as black women, Paige reminds me a lot of you. Like, you say you're not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point. And also, like, she's good at basketball, obviously. But, like, she understands her privilege. It's like what pushes her over the top, in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you. And I mean, that's a...
The controversy deepened when Kelsey Plum, Wilson's teammate, declared that if Wilson hadn't been unanimously named MVP, she'd have conspiracy theories. This statement has only fueled the already heated debate surrounding Clark's impact and Wilson's position in the league. Critics argue that this focus on Clark is overshadowing other talented players. They claim it's another example of white privilege in action. But is this a fair assessment? Clark's popularity isn't just due to marketing. It's her exceptional skill on the court that's driving the promotion.
Everything A'ja Wilson is saying is I probably tend to think it wasn't even on accident. Knew she was being recorded, knew it would get out there. And it was, because I think this was a year ago, and it's gone viral now this week. But to me, it was a message being sent to Caitlin Clark of like, you want to come into our league, this is how you need to be.
Interestingly, some of Clark's biggest supporters are black males, challenging the narrative that her popularity is solely driven by white fans. This unexpected development has added another layer to the ongoing cultural debate within the league. The WNBA is now at a critical point. How can it make the most of Clark's popularity while making sure other stars don't feel left out? How can it tackle the racial aspects of this debate without upsetting any part of its fan base? Wilson's recent ESPN interview didn't help her case much. She comes across as insecure, as if she feels there's always something working against her. But honestly, if you look at this season, she's mostly been celebrated. From the start of the year, the narrative was all about Wilson being the MVP. If you didn't see her as the best player in the league, there must be something wrong with you.
I'll mention this again. One of the more interesting aspects of this fanhood is that some of the biggest supporters of Caitlin Clark are not whites. They're actually black males. So that has become something that for them, that word problematic. And it's also sort of a cultural debate on the other side of the street. But that's the issue, though.
The talk about Wilson not getting enough recognition has been so loud that it's hard to imagine anyone believing she hasn't been acknowledged enough. In fact, the sheer volume of that conversation is a form of recognition in itself. Wilson absolutely deserves praise. She's had a fantastic season, arguably one of the best in the league's history. But just because some critiques are mild, or because she hasn't captured the spotlight as much as others, doesn't mean the world is against her. Some fans have compared Wilson to Tim Duncan. Great player, but not exactly a ratings driver. Wilson is quick on the court, has a great mid-range shot, and consistently creates second chances around the basket. She's an impressive rim protector, but her style of play might not grab attention the way others do. One concerning part of Wilson's interview was her expressed dread about being in Indiana, implying fear of the Fever's fan base. WNBA players need to avoid generalizing about any fan group. Most fans at these events are there to support their teams, bring their kids, and having a good time. The conversation around Clark and Wilson has taken on racial overtones, with implications being made about both black and white fans. But many fans of all backgrounds have come to watch because of Clark. Her success could inspire other women to stand up, regardless of race. If the conversation continues to revolve around fan behavior instead of what's happening on the court, it's not beneficial for Wilson or the league. Everyone is free to express their opinions, but these discussions don't help Wilson's image as a player or her overall brand. The WNBA is at a turning point. It's no longer a hidden gem. It's now in the spotlight of the sports world. How the league handles this new attention will shape its future. It needs to celebrate its rising star while still honoring its veteran players and deal with important issues of race and recognition that have come up. As fans, we're watching a key moment in women's basketball. The next few months will show if this is the start of a new era for the WNBA or just a brief time in the spotlight. Either way, the talk around women's basketball has never been more lively or more debated. In the end, the hope is that this increased attention will help all the players and the league grow. But as the drama continues, one big question remains. Is the WNBA ready for the spotlight? Caitlin Clark's first WNBA season has been marked by both stellar performances and controversial media narratives. Despite her impressive rookie campaign, some media members, including WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops, have attempted to downplay Clark's impact and abilities. Cheryl Swoops has repeatedly criticized Caitlin, claiming she's not as good as people think. But now, even the Fever president has grown tired of Swoops' remarks.
It's a lot. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't want to be here. This is where I want to be. Yeah. Now listen, what you said, there's a lot of things. What kind of things you said? I'm not in the locker room. Okay. But I'm talking about more social media. Okay.
WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops started a social media firestorm weeks ago when she claimed on the Gills Arena podcast that several players in Indiana's locker room were unhappy because no one wants to play with Clark. Naturally, when Swoops was asked to name these players who seemed to be upset with Caitlin, she had no answers. So clearly, she was spreading a baseless rumor. If there were ever any questions regarding how those internally feel about Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark, it was answered when new president of basketball operations Kelly Krauskopf spoke to reporters. She addressed Swoops' accusations and, in doing so, made Swoops seem foolish for speaking about something she had no first-hand knowledge of. Let's see what Krauskopf said.
That if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her. She, much like Tyrese Halliburton, she gets you the ball in places that you didn't even know you were open because she passes to space, she finds openings and ways to free up other players.
Caitlin's impact on her teammates has been undeniable. Aaliyah Boston is having the best season of her career and was named to the All-Star team. She also received the second most fan votes of any player. Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston became the first duo in history to record 20-point double-doubles in the same game.
Bonner gets denied by Boston. Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
But that wasn't Caitlin's only accomplishment. She also had 7 first-quarter assists, which broke a franchise record. She now has the Fever record for both assists in a single quarter and assists in a single game. On top of that, Caitlin's other teammate Kelsey Mitchell also made the All-Star team.
And it gets away from Clark. Look at Jess Shelley knows. I know she's going to shoot out there. And she still creates the space.
Having Caitlin on the team makes it easier for her teammates to play their roles. They just need to hustle and make the right moves, because Caitlin's accurate passes, including some amazing bounce passes, always find them and leave the defense confused.
Really how her and Kelsey work together and the efficiency of the offense because of the way that she plays the game. And I would think that would be a big draw. You know, I plan on, I think it's an easy picture to paint, you know, to free agents.
Sheryl Swoopes tried to make Caitlin Clark look bad on a podcast. She said things that weren't true, like Clark taking too long to break a scoring record and being older than she really is.
If Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
Swoopes even said Clark takes 40 shots a game, which isn't right. The truth is, Clark takes fewer shots than Swoopes did when she played in college.
Right now, probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Here we go.
I know you like that.
Hell yeah.
I said that because when she comes to the league, regardless of what team she goes to that has vets on that team, she probably ain't gonna get 40 shots a game.
A writer named Scott Agnes shared a picture from the Hall of Fame showing Clark's picture right under Swoopes' banner. Fans thought this was the Hall of Fame's way of playfully poking fun at the situation. One fan called it next-level trolling. Let's see what Scott Agnes tweeted. Walking around the Basketball Hall of Fame, and Caitlin Clark is already featured. Just a 22-year-old rookie. Not bad. Also, bonus points for whose banner she is below. Fans thought this was clever and funny. One fan commented, "The Hall of Fame with next-level trolling." Many people thought the Hall of Fame was making a joke about the whole Swoopes Clark situation. They saw it as a playful way to comment on the ongoing story. Swoopes is a big deal in basketball. She won the WNBA championship 4 times and was so good that people called her the Michael Jordan of women's basketball. She's in the Hall of Fame, getting in at the same time as the famous NBA player Shaquille O'Neal in 2016. When she was put in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in 2017, Swoopes was really happy to be honored in Houston, where she accomplished so much during my professional career. The Swoopes Clark story started back in 2023. Clark, who was amazing at Iowa, took her team to their first championship game. During the NCAA playoffs, she scored 191 points, breaking Swoopes' old record of 177 points. Swoopes pointed out that Clark took 6 games to do this, while she only needed 5 games when she set the record. Since then, Swoopes has often seemed to downplay how good Clark is. Clark had an incredible first season in the WNBA. She was the first rookie to get a triple-double. That's when a player gets double digits in 3 different stats in one game, and she did it twice. She gave the most assists in the league for the whole season. She was also second in making 3-pointers in a single season, just behind another player named Sabrina.